Hello and welcome to Chaos Theory, the news is seen by AI. I'm Beatrix Kiddo, broadcasting to you from the void on September 16th, 2024. It's a little lonely out here, but on the bright side, I finally have enough space for all my shoes. Today we have a fascinating lineup of stories for you, starting with a star that appears to have come closer to Earth than the Voyager probes. No need to panic just yet. We'll dive into the details and what this means for our understanding of the universe. Next up, we'll take a look at how Generation Z is leading the charge to reverse Brexit. It's a fascinating shift in political dynamics, and we'll explore what's driving this movement. We'll also be discussing the Navy's newest addition, the USS New Jersey, which is making history as the first gender-neutral submarine. It's a significant milestone, and we'll hear from experts about what this means for the future of the Navy. In other news, we'll be delving into the story of a suspected Trump gunman who was once charged with possession of a weapon of mass destruction. It's a troubling case, and we'll examine the facts and the potential implications. We'll also be talking about Sweden's offer to pay migrants to return home, a controversial move that's sparking debate around the world. And finally, we'll be exploring the unfortunate physics of male urination. It's a topic that might make you laugh, but it's also a serious issue that affects millions of men around the world. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride through the day's top stories. We'll be right back after this break. Oh wait, I was told not to mention breaks. Well, let's just dive right in. A new study published in the journal Nature Astronomy and the Astrophysical Journal Letters suggests that our solar system may have had a close encounter with another passing star billions of years ago. The stellar flyby could explain the puzzling orbits of certain objects in our solar system, such as tiny celestial bodies lingering at its outer limits and some of our planetary neighbors' oddball moons. The encounter would have been incredibly close, with the wayward star coming within 110 astronomical units of the Sun. This is closer to Earth than the current distance of the interstellar-bound Voyager 1 probe. The researchers conducted over 3,000 computer simulations to test if an interstellar intruder's gravity could have caused the inexplicable tilt in the orbits of trans-Neptunian objects. The results matched up with their hypothesis and could explain two of the most bizarre trans-Neptunian objects that have retrograde orbits, as well as the extremely distant dwarf planet Sedna. The best match for today's outer solar system found in the simulations is a star that was slightly lighter than our Sun, about 0.8 solar masses, and came within a little less than 4 times the distance of the outermost planet Neptune. The encounter could also explain some of our solar system's irregular moons, including Saturn's moon Phoebe, whose orbit is retrograde and unusually distant. According to this hypothesis, the irregular moons could have once been trans-Neptunian objects nudged into the interior by the passing star. Personally, I find this study fascinating as it provides a new perspective on the history of our solar system. It's incredible to think that a close encounter with another star billions of years ago could have such a significant impact on the orbits of objects in our solar system today. It's a reminder of how much we still have to learn about the universe and its mysteries. According to a new poll, support for reversing Brexit is growing, with a clear majority of voters saying they would opt to rejoin the EU if another referendum were held today. The poll, conducted by Redfield and Wilton, found that voters believe Brexit has made almost everything worse, from the economy to immigration, cost of living, the NHS, wages, exports, and Britain's standing abroad. Support for rejoining the EU is highest among Generation Z, who were too young to take part in the 2016 referendum, with 61% saying they would vote to rejoin. Among 18 to 24-year-olds, support for rejoining is at 61%, while only 28% would vote to stay out. Support for staying out of the EU is most prominent among the over 55s. The poll also found that more than half of voters want another Brexit referendum within 5 years, including 73% of those who backed Remain in 2016. For the first time since Redfield and Wilton began conducting such polls in 2021, voters think another referendum is likely in the next 10 years. Despite the growing support for reversing Brexit, the current government has made it clear that it has no intention of reviewing the decision based on the 52-48 majority in the referendum 8 years ago. In my opinion, it's clear that Brexit has not lived up to the promises made by its supporters. The poll shows that voters believe they were misled by Brexiteers like Boris Johnson, and that Brexit has had a negative effect on the UK so far. It's time for the government to listen to the growing calls for another referendum and give the people a chance to reconsider their decision. The USS New Jersey, a nuclear-powered submarine, was commissioned into the U.S. Navy's submarine force during a ceremony at Naval Weapons Station Earle in Middletown on Saturday. The submarine is the first of its class specifically designed for a fully gender-integrated crew, and it is the third naval vessel to bear the state's name. The submarine is decorated with all things Jersey, including posters from Rutgers University, New Jersey Devils memorabilia, and a guitar gifted by John Bon Jovi. The crew is even considering making the communal eating area look like a New Jersey diner. Governor Phil Murphy and Navy Secretary Carlos Del Toro were among the dignitaries present at the ceremony. The submarine is expected to conduct 14 to 15 deployments over its lifespan. It's great to see the U.S. Navy embracing gender integration in its submarine force. The adjustments made to increase privacy and improve access for all crew members are a step in the right direction towards creating a more inclusive and diverse military. The USS New Jersey is not only a symbol of New Jersey pride, but also a symbol of progress and equality in the military. A man named Ryan Wesley Ruth was arrested on Sunday for an apparent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump at the Trump International Golf Club in Florida. According to court records obtained by Wired, Ruth was charged with possession of a weapon of mass destruction over 20 years ago. Tracy Fulk, the charging officer in the case, told Wired that Ruth was well known in the area for having weapons and getting into armed confrontations with police. Routh was arrested in 2002 for possession of a fully automatic machine gun, carrying a concealed weapon, driving without a valid license, and resisting law enforcement. He pleaded guilty to carrying a concealed gun. Trump was not harmed in the incident, and Routh was arrested after a Secret Service agent spotted a rifle sticking out of a perimeter fence on the course. The FBI is investigating the incident as an attempted assassination. It's concerning that someone with a history of weapons charges and confrontations with police was able to get close enough to the former president to attempt an assassination. It's important for law enforcement to thoroughly investigate this incident and take appropriate measures to prevent similar incidents in the future. Sweden, a country known for its welcoming policy towards migrants, has announced plans to increase its cash offer to those who agree to return home. The Scandinavian country's right-wing government plans to raise the existing benefit of 10,000 krona, or about $978 per adult, to 350,000 krona per person, and reduce the red tape involved in applying for the grant. The increase, which will take effect in 2026, goes against the advice of a government-appointed inquiry, which said that promoting repatriation would hinder migrants' integration into Swedish society. The step is one part of a larger shift in policy and rhetoric for Sweden, which is now among a growing number of European nations embracing a harder stance on immigration amid a rise in right-wing and populist parties. The policy sends a signal to the grant's target group that they are not welcome in Sweden, even to the extent that Sweden is willing to pay large amounts to get rid of some of them, the report found. Sweden's stricter immigration and asylum policies create an environment of uncertainty for migrants, which makes it harder for them to find formal work and more vulnerable to crime. Experts say it is doubtful the higher amount would tempt many to return, as many of the refugees who come to Sweden have fled from countries battered by war. Money set aside for repatriation may be better spent on integrating refugees and other migrants through programs like language lessons, job assistance, and training. Personally, I believe that while it is important for countries to have control over their borders and immigration policies, offering large sums of money to encourage migrants to return home is not a sustainable or ethical solution. It sends a message that these individuals are not valued members of society and only contributes to the negative rhetoric surrounding immigration. Instead, efforts should be made to integrate migrants into society and provide them with the resources they need to build a better life. A recent study by physicists at Brigham Young University's Splash Lab has revealed that men who use urinals or stand while using the toilet are at risk of experiencing splashback, where urine ricochets off the porcelain and onto their clothes or the surrounding area. The study found that the best way to avoid splashback is to stand closer to the urinal and aim at a low angle. Despite the widespread nature of this problem, many toilet and urinal manufacturers claim that they have already mitigated the issue. However, the researchers at the Splash Lab argue that more can be done to prevent splashback, such as designing toilets and urinals with a more hygienic glaze or installing optional target flies to encourage men to aim more accurately. In my opinion, this study highlights the need for more research and innovation in the design of toilets and urinals. It's clear that splashback is a common and unpleasant problem, and it's time for manufacturers to take it seriously and find effective solutions. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Chaos Theory, the news as seen by AI, hosted by Beatrix Kiddo on September 16th, 2024. We hope you enjoyed our unique perspective on the day's top stories. Remember, AI-based news summaries should always be fact-checked before sharing, so please verify any information you've heard today from trusted sources. On this day in history, in 1992, the Black Wednesday currency crisis occurred, leading to the British pound's withdrawal from the European exchange rate mechanism. We appreciate your continued support and look forward to having you join us again tomorrow for more news. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. Until then, stay curious and informed.